Why did you kindly agree to speak to me today?
Well, partly because you were so polite and asked so nicely, and partly, as you know, people will know we have a bit of history. So after you contact me about the joke I made, or actually probably wasn't about the joke so much as the way I dealt with the criticism online
Yeah.
with the joke, which was a little bit crass, a little bit dismissive, and a little bit cold. So I then met with you, and mainly I met with you, well, partly because you were very reasonable as well, which is unusual, as you probably know.
Yeah.
You know, normally people, especially if they have access to you via Twitter or something, their first
Yeah.
response is say, essentially, you know, put in whatever word you want, but it's abusive. And then you just think, well, why should I engage with you? Because
Yeah.
you've immediately gone to the extreme of like, I'm a monster. So,
Yeah.
and the fact that you didn't do that, and the fact that we have a friend in common, well, an acquaintance really, you know her better than me probably, but I've always liked you a lot, is the legendary Woz. As you said earlier, now 103. Which is what you said,
I did
as a
say
joke.
that. I've been shamed. What you said last time was really interesting about the fact that you felt that you could have got away with it, so to speak.
Well, during the conversation we had, you came to see me and we talked about the joke I've made online, which was a fairly old-fashioned sort of, not really 70s, more 80s joke
Yeah.
about transsexuals and the idea being the cock as a kind of hidden, almost taboo part of the joke to play off of. But a kind of, you know, because everyone knows the nature of what you're talking about, then the kind of mainstream audience will still respond to that. Because regardless of where the cock is attached, still using a cock is a bit like kind of a fart or something like that. It's always been more acceptable than going the vagina route anyway.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, you know, that was it. So anyway, I made that joke on air, and, you know, then someone came to me and I thought, oh my God, they're really overreacting. So I then made a kind of worse comment back. And then you came to see me, and while we were talking, as I said, you know, I liked you and I liked the way you approached me, which was very... not compromising in any way, but at the same time very kind of straightforward and very like, okay, look, this is what we're about. We think you could benefit from listening to us. So you came in, and while we were talking, I'd already realised that, as you know, obviously I have some sort of form as being a kind of controversial figure, never intentionally, but especially the Saxgate thing. And ever since that happened, the newspapers seem to see me as someone who it's very easy to write a story about if it is in any way seen as provoking or upsetting anyone. Because that's kind of it's almost like they write a narrative for you, and as long as you stick to that narrative, or as long as they can find a way of making something work to that narrative, they'll return to it. Because of course, I suppose the thing is, the audience already think he's an arsehole. He's just said something else to this group making an arsehole. Let's make sure we can fill a page with that. Now, the fact that no one picked up on the joke, more crucially the response to the joke, and the fact that online there were quite a few people saying he can't get away with this, when are people going to learn not to make these jokes and so on and so forth. The fact that none of the mainstream press sort of were interested made me therefore feel much more interested in your point of view. Because, okay, I'm an easy target for them. I know they don't like me. Here they had an opportunity to beat me up again, and I hope that doesn't sound grand or arrogant. I don't mean they're looking for me, or they want to put me in the papers, but I know that that's an easy thing they could reach for. Here's an opportunity, because he's obviously upset a group of people, however small, but it's a group of people. Oh, but you know what? Let's not write about it. I thought it was more telling to me, the fact that it didn't get reported, didn't get picked up on in any way. And so that made me realise, I think what I said at the time, I realised that, you know, genuinely, I think you were speaking to me on behalf of a group that I would consider to be a genuine, and one of the few large genuine minority groups.